Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new, what am I talking about? Welcome to another weekly instalment of the live Doctor Who news show we have over on this channel called the WHO Bulletin. Welcome everyone, hope you're all doing well, hope you're having a lovely Tuesday evening so far. I fully intend to make it a lot better, so stick around and you never know. Before we get into all of the news we've got this week, which is a lot of news, I'm going to say a quick hello to everyone who's commented on the chat so far. Mr. Scarlo, Joe Felix, Dr. Master, Michael, Double Team Matt, Mr. Scarlo again, yep, Evan Marnie, Doctor Who Mania, Dan Toothpick, Vanders Who. Yeah, welcome. Hope you're all having a lovely evening so far. Adam Hassel, welcome to the stream. We've got a lot of news to talk about today, so we're not going to waste any time at all. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, which I'm very excited about. There's a few things. We've got the new companion, of course, was announced officially this time, as opposed to weeks ago where we did talk about it. I don't know if I should do glasses today. I'm feeling maybe glasses. Also, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, let's just go with the glasses for now. We'll see what happens. No, that's really bright in my eyes. Never mind. So we're going to talk about the new companion announcement and what that means for the rumours regarding Millie Gibson, as well as some as well as some new exciting information which has just come out in the last half an hour or so regarding Ruby's role in Season 2 from Russell T Davies himself in the Entertainment Weekly magazine. Talking about Entertainment Weekly, we've also got all the new stuff with Ncuti Gatwa, new outfits for Doctors now, and we're going to have some new promo stuff from them. We've also got some new Doctor Who figures. We're going to be talking about that and what people's latest thoughts are on those figures. And yeah, that's pretty much all that for today. We'll probably mention a couple of other things, but we're going to start as we always do. We never do, but start as I would quite like to from now on with a hoodle. If you don't know what a hoodle is, it is a little game you can play. It's everyone's little favourite in the Discord server at the minute. And we're going to play it. So basically it gives you an image and you have to guess which Doctor Who episode it is, and the closer you get it to one, the best. And I know immediately, I think, this is the next Doctor. I think. See, exactly. That was too easy. Yeah, so this is quite an easy one today, but it's a good one. I think they should have started with that one, and then maybe that one? I think that's too obvious, because you can sort of see he's on the big balloon, isn't he? That's quite an easy one. That would have been a bit of a giveaway. That's definitely a giveaway. But yeah, we're cracking open a cold one. Not a beer, unfortunately, but a Monster Energy. Because how else am I going to stream for 3 hours? Goddamn. So let's talk about what's the biggest news first. Well, the companion is probably the biggest news. So let's talk about that. So we have Varada Sethu, who's joined for the brand new series. We knew this anyway. This wasn't news. We saw them filming, unfortunately. But what is probably the biggest surprise for a lot of people is the British press decided to run with this story of Millie Gibson being a diva on set and her being sacked from Season 2 of Doctor Who, which is crazy that people even believe this for a second, because obviously we've seen Millie Gibson filming for Doctor Who Season 2. We know that's not the case. And this gives a little bit more information. The article isn't too informative about what her role is. Another interesting point is that she hasn't been given a name for her character quite yet. She's known from Andor. She's great in Andor, but it's great to see an actress who's come from a background of sort of more prestigious stuff as well, as opposed to someone who's like not really known of. And I love an unknown in Doctor Who. They are some of the best inclusions, but to get someone who is sort of semi-known at this point, I think is a really great one, and it's good to see that we can get people from the Star Wars universe over to Doctor Who quite nicely. It's a good sign to cross franchises like that. So yeah, I think this is a great little team. I think Varada's great in Andor, and that's all I think I've seen her in. But she's great in that, and I'm very excited to see what this team is going to be like. They seem to have a good chemistry, and I'm hoping that there'll be something interesting going on. Obviously, we're going to have a second companion almost straight away into a new era. Ruby's only going to get 9 episodes by herself before we get a new companion, but it's good to see that Ruby isn't actually leaving the show altogether or dying or anything like that. We are actually getting a sort of a crossover there, so I'm very interested to see what what's going to go on with that. There was some other news which I'd like to sort of jump onto off the back of this, because obviously they had those rumours of Millie Gibson was going to leave after Season 2, and all that lovely annoying stuff. But what I had, and I'll just sort of find this now, because I should have saved it really, but that's my own fault. So someone shared this. This comes courtesy of at Raggedy Dogs on Twitter. Thank you for sharing this, because I would not have seen it otherwise. This is a quote from the Entertainment Weekly magazine, I believe. Rusty Davis said, much of Ruby's arc was inspired by the Timeless Child plot point introduced by the previous showrunner Chris Chibnall, where the Doctor was revealed to not have been born on the planet Gallifrey as formerly believed. Instead, the Doctor was apparently found as a mysterious orphan from an unknown planet. Much as Ruby was discovered as an newborn left abandoned on a church doorstep. Their similar histories loom large throughout the season as they both find themselves curious about their origins. That's interesting already to start with. That story is going to be the spine of the whole show, Davis teases. And despite previous press reports that Gibson will be leaving after this season's end, she and Russell T Davies confirmed that Ruby plays a major role in the next season. We're heading into season 2, and oh my god, Ruby Sunday is important to that, Davies says. There's good stuff to come. Very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. It makes a lot of questions in terms of like what is this going to be about? Kind of how are they going to cover it? First of all, I'd love to say that I'm a really big fan of Russell taking the Timeless Child idea. I think the Timeless Child idea, as much as it's not everyone's cup of tea, I think it does add something to the show if done right. I think it's one of those things where you unfortunately get it not executed perfectly, but it's executed in the vision of the writer who brought it to fruition. But then we get stuff like Wild Blue Yonder, which I think gave more value and weight to the Timeless Child, and the Flux as well. I'm excited to see what Davis does with that, and I love that because for me, one thing I really don't like is when a new showrunner takes over, it feels like nothing from the previous era is sort of mentioned, right? And I'll praise Chris Chibnall where appropriate, and I quite liked Series 11 in all honesty. But one thing I sort of don't really like is that it feels like such a clear cut-off point. You know, they were trying to make it so much like the new first season that they didn't connect it to anything else. Not that I want it to carry through any plot threads about Gallifrey or anything like that, but those inconsistencies will crop up when you're rewatching the show on a big New Who rewatch. You know, within the span of 2 seasons, you get Gallifrey, you know, being fine, and you got Hellbent and all that sort of thing, and you take Rassilon off the planet, and you steal the TARDIS and run away, and all that sort of lovely stuff. And the next time you see Gallifrey, it's destroyed, and it's unclear when in that timeline that is. You've got the thing with the Master. Did Sasha's Master come after Missy? All that sort of thing. There's a lot of confusion as to where things come in the timeline and where things happen, to the point where Chibnall's era kind of feels like its own thing, separate to that of the rest of the show. So I'm really glad that Davis has actually taken that on, because it's very easy for people to just cut out Chibnall's era and go, well, that doesn't really count or whatever or anything like that. But I think Chibnall's stuff has some strong stuff in it. It's not all perfect, but I think it does have some strong stuff here and there, and I think it definitely deserves to be part of the universe. Just because people don't like it, I think it's aside. Even if I don't like something, like, it's part of the universe. Unfortunately, In the Forest of the Night is canon, but I don't care. Like, I don't like that episode at all, but I don't care that it's canon, you know? The key thing for me with this is that's great. And I like the fact that he's taking this and running with it. It's like to have the Doctor established as someone who isn't from Gallifrey, and then to come into the new era, if it was like, oh, I'm from Gallifrey, that would be really annoying on rewatch or anything like that in terms of consistencies. You've got reaction YouTubers like Blindwave, for example, who watch the whole thing through and through, and they make notes every time, so it's like they come into a new era and it says something contradictory to the previous era. That's just kind of annoying in terms of following stuff and continuity. And I think that's where Doctor Who can take a page out of Star Wars' book. Star Wars is one of the best interconnected properties on the planet at the minute. It's got a lot of different things going on, and it works, you know. But Doctor Who is not like that. It is a mess. You've got stuff that's canon, stuff that's not canon. There needs to be almost like an official ruling. But at the very least, the TV show should follow this same continuity and should have that sort of level of continuity to it. And I think Russell's the best person for that at the minute. And I think I'm very excited to see what he does. And I'm really glad that they're doing something with this. You know, taking the Timeless Child thing of the Doctor being an orphan and then turning that into the main plot point of the new era, despite the fact that it's not the same writer, is so interesting. It's so interesting. With the foresight, Chris Chibnall could have done this with his era, and it would have made the Timeless Child thing way better then. But you know what? I'd rather them try and make something of it than just, not do anything with it. That's sort of the worst thing for me, if they just sort of abandon the idea and just pretended that it didn't happen. That's the worst possible scenario, because that would be so annoying for rewatch. So then again, you're talking about, like, I don't think it's about Gallifrey coming back or anything like that, but it's about the character thing. If you make the Doctor an orphan, like they did in the previous era, it creates this really interesting connection between Doctor and companion that we haven't had before. They relate on a lot of different levels, and it's very interesting in that respect. There's a few theories that Ruby would regenerate into the new companion. We haven't got the new companion's name, we just know the actress. So maybe she'll regenerate, maybe she'll bi-generate, who knows? But it's one of those ones that's a sort of difficult middle ground. A great question there from Dr. Master as well. What's the point of the whole rebrand this time around if it's going to link to the previous era? Why call it Season 1? I mean, the Season 1 thing is something that personally I'm a big fan of. The reason it's called Season 1 is not in the same way of, like, as fans, where, like, well, why isn't it called Series 14? It basically is Series 14. But it's just a new cut-off. It's a new era. And to be honest with you, and it's a mentality thing. It's a sort of marketing strategy, isn't it? You go to someone who isn't a fan of Doctor Who and you tell them, oh, you need to watch this show, it's brilliant, and they're like, oh, where can I watch it? It's like, well, you can watch it from here, you can watch it from here, you can watch it from here. Start with, you could say anything, but you could say start with, like, Series 1, start with Series 5, start with Series 8, and then when this comes out, this would be a really good new jumping on point. But, start with Series 14. People, you tell someone start with Season 14 and they're like, wow, this show's a mess. You tell them that Doctor Who is sort of being rebooted and it's starting at Season 1. Like, I work in an office. I kind of, like, talk to a lot of people about it. There is more interest for Doctor Who at the minute to the general audience than there was before. And I guarantee that's partially down to the fact that it's coming up as a first season. We'll see how it does, but I think doing it before then and also setting this stuff. But I agree, it's sort of connecting it to the previous era. Why would you want to do that? Because there are fans, and the fans run the show, basically, and I love that idea of that interconnectivity. But you can do it when they did it in the Christmas special. They brought in the character and were like, oh, I was adopted. I was an orphan. And they make that point, and it's like, it's not about, like, that being a connection to the Timeless Child. That's something we fans know, us fans know even, but general audiences will just take that at face value and go, oh, okay, he's an orphan, cool. It's the same reason why, and it happened at the beginning of the new era as well, the New Who. I didn't watch Classic Who as a kid. I grew up with New Who, and what did I know? I knew that he was the last of the Time Lords. All the other Time Lords had been wiped out, and I understood that. And it's like, I didn't need to have context as to what a Time Lord was or what a Dalek was, but it is connected for fans. But for new audience members like myself as a kid, like watching it, I was like, I can understand that. You're just telling the audience what they need to know that's important for what the show is now. And if what's important for the show now is that the Doctor is an orphan, was adopted, then that's completely, you can just say that, as they did in the Christmas special, and that's taken as face value. But to be fair, I don't care whether it's called Series 14 or Season 1. I kind of like the Season 1 thing. I think it helps me talk about the show and go, hey, well, if you've never watched Doctor Who, why not start now? It's starting at Season 1. They're doing it from scratch again. Not doing it from scratch, but they're starting again. Season 1, you can watch it in its own continuity, and you won't have to have watched anything before. And that's why it'll work, and that's what I like about it. They tried to do it every era. They tried to do it at the beginning of Moffat. Tried to do it at the beginning of Chibnall's. The one big thing they never did was change the actual name of the season to Season 1. But yeah, it's an up and down thing. I don't know if I love it, I don't know if I hate it, but I don't hate the idea, personally. So the other thing we want to talk about is the brand new figures which have been released. What the hell are they called again? Scaro. Let's just type in Scaro because I think I had that in the title. There we go. We've got some new photos of a brand new Doctor Who figure set from Character Options. And there's people a bit up in air about it, and we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about my opinions on it. It is called the Ruins of Scaro Figure Collector. So it's from Character Online. You've got 2 Pavilions and 1 Dalek with bombs from Destiny of the Daleks. Is it Destiny of the Daleks, I think? I have seen this episode, so if I'm getting it wrong, that is just genuine misunderstanding. But this is a great figure set. I think this looks really good. Now, I have the same gripes as a lot of other people, so we'll talk about that in due course, but let's talk about what I like about the set first. And first of all, I will just go out there and say, I am not gonna buy this set personally. I have no intention of getting Mavelian Warriors and a bomb Dalek, but I don't buy many figures these days. That's not an insult. That's not me going, this is a shit set. It's a very good set, and I like the look of it. I'm just not going to get it, so you'll not see a review from me. So I'll give my opinions here and now. I think the box is really nice. I think it really fits that new sort of era aesthetic. These figures are really well detailed. It's the first time we've got Mavilians, I think. The little handguns are perfect as well. The outfits are really good. They've really made a lot of effort with that, giving them 2 different faces as well. Just helps that it's not identical. Great thing about these is, of course, they appeared very briefly in the pilot in series 10 of Doctor Who, so you can sort of take that as like a Capaldi era figure technically as well. But I think they look great. The detail looks fantastic. The paintwork looks great. The hair sculpt looks fab. There's a lot of new stuff there, a lot of reused stuff, but it looks pretty good. I can't knock it. I really like it. And the bomb attached Dalek, I think you call it, was a Dalek with bombs is what they're calling it on the set. This is a new sort of figure. They have done this before in the past, but the bombs were placed more sort of uniform. This is a lot more all over the place, so slightly more accurate to the actual episode. And yeah, it's great. The set is retailing for $39.99, I believe, and you can find it on Character Online. Let's have a look at that. I've heard a lot of people complaining about this, and for me it's a balance. It's a real 50-50 thing. I'm right in the middle of it, and it's a real conundrum for me, because on one hand, £40 feels like a lot of money for this. Now bear in mind that we usually get a Dalek set with 2 Daleks, or a Dalek and 1 character, or whatever, as a sort of set, and that would be sort of 20 to 30 quid in recent years. Now this is 2 characters and a Dalek. The unfortunate thing is the 2 characters are, of course, pretty much the same, to be honest. But it works. The good thing about this also is that we have actually got a lot of other figures from this story. That's really cool, because it means you can recreate one of the iconic stories of that era now really well, which is nice. It would be nice to get that for New Who as well, but that's just not always the case. But 40 quid is a lot, but also fair. It's fair because of the time and effort that's going into it. These are all new molds, these are all new figures, and we'll talk about why they picked this in a minute. But the price value kind of sits just about right. But at the same time, I see a lot of people throwing around this comparison of going like, well, if it was Hasbro doing it, it would be a lot more money, or it would be about the same price. But my point is, with Doctor Who figures, especially from character, and no offense to people who love the character figures, I think they're great as well. I've collected them as a kid, and I don't collect any of the Star Wars figures, right? But you cannot deny, at least to some extent, that the design and articulation of the Star Wars figures are better. Right? That's to me how I feel, right? You look at figures like Thrawn, for example. That is an excellent, excellent likeness of that character. And you look at all the sort of detail and weathering. It looks incredible. It looks really, genuinely very good. The posing opportunities are great. It comes with a gun. You get a lot of stuff. Now that is $24.99 for one figure. So to get 3 figures for Doctor Who for 40 quid, it kind of adds up. Right? But when the Shooty and Millie figures come out, maybe towards the end of the year, maybe around the new series launch, when they come out, if they are around the same price as this, £20, £25, then I'm expecting the same sort of level of quality that you get with these figures. When I buy Doctor Who figures, right, and I love them, right? Look, don't get me wrong, always love Doctor Who figures, but we cannot argue that they're on the same level in terms of detail, in terms of articulation, any of that sort of stuff for as the Star Wars ones, right? I love the Star Wars ones. I'm not sort of just throwing that out there for no reason. You get a lot of pointless characters who aren't really as well known turned into figures for a really expensive price. You get that a lot. Some alien here and it's like 40 quid. Of course, yeah. You've got a rebel trooper on Endor. That's only 20. Luke Skywalker and Grogu. Oh look, you're getting 2 figures for $24.99. But my point is the quality of the figures, right? Whenever I get a character options figure, and I love them to bits, less so with the ones online, more so with B&M, obviously. But either way, you're paying a decent amount of money for it, whether it's B&M or online aside. The quality of the figures does leave a lot to be desired. They do wear and tear very easily, especially the B&M ones. And you're still, for some of those, paying like 20 quid for a set. 20 plus quid for a set, like a TARDIS and Doctor set, or all that sort of thing. You get that sort of wear and tear almost straight away. You start moving one of the articulations and one of the arms is really wobbly or something. I've got that with the Joe Martin figure a little bit. Like, I've barely even touched it. I took it out of the box, put it up there, and one of the arms is slightly weaker than the other, and it's like, you shouldn't have that when you're paying that much money for a figure. So when I'm paying £40 for this, am I expecting this sort of level of articulation? No, I'm not. No, I'm not at all. But also it sort of works out slightly cheaper than it would by getting 3 Black Series figures. But my problem is I would rather pay more for a good, proper articulation of figures that I want, as opposed to still a decent amount of money on something that's just a bit naff for figures that I don't really want. And that's the other point is, I think this is a great set, and I love these figures, and I think they look brilliant, and if people who are real big fans of this era, they're going to have a hell of a time with these figures. They are great. Really, really good. For me, I really don't... I'm not going to get this, because for me, I'm going to save my money for the bigger releases, right? If they released a Shoot You Get with Doctor figure in the style of Black Series, where it's sort of so detailed and the articulation's great and the moulding is just absolutely sublime, I'd pay 40 quid for a bloody figure, because it would be a good figure, right? It doesn't really matter to me. I'd pay 40 quid for the one, right? Same with Ruby. I would absolutely get that. I always get the Doctors, the Companions, maybe 1 or 2 monsters, depending on how good the figure is. What I'm not going to do is buy a 4th Doctor story box, because it's not really for me, and that's fine. Like, it doesn't have to be, but it comes down to that sort of thing. It's like, it's all well and good saying that and new models and stuff, but why are we moulding new stuff for old sets? I get that, but it's like, we've just had a 60th anniversary special that's been immensely popular. You've got a B&M range for cheaper stuff. You've got the online option here, but we're basically putting moulds out for new sort of models for Doctor Who figures, but Doctor Who figures that are, I would say, are less in the public eye. You know, Doctor Master, right? You've never seen this episode, right? I've only seen this story this year, and it's not like it's a good story. I really enjoyed it, but what I mean is, it's like the new figures, I have a feeling would probably sell better. Look how well the Joel Martin figure did. Yes, it took them years to do it. Yes, they were working on it for a long time. Good for them. They got it right. They got it out, and it was a great set. Really, really top dollar from Character Options. It was an immediate buy for me when the website started working. But I love that. Whereas this sort of stuff, it's there. I'm not going to buy this. That's fine. I don't particularly want it. Maybe a few years ago I would have, just to have the set, but I have no intention of getting this. But when they release a Shooty figure, yeah, I'm getting that. When they release a Ruby one, yeah, I'm getting that. If they ever release a Toy Maker or a Donna from the 60th anniversary or a Meep, 100% I'm getting all that. All the new sort of stuff, I'd absolutely jump on. Any new series stuff interests me more, because I grew up with that, you know? I'm 23 now, I grew up with New Who. I'm more likely to put money down on New Who stuff any day of the week. And it's great that you've got collectors who will buy this, but like, I just would have thought that, especially for like a new and up-and-coming brand, you'd want to be pushing the newer stuff to see how they do. But the fact of the matter is, Character Options is tailored more towards collectors than it is kids. They're not kids' toys anymore. There's no kids wanting these for Christmas or anything like that. Personally, I can't imagine a world without it. I grew up with these toys and I loved them. I got them every Christmas and I loved it. But yeah, my point is, I'd love to see articulation and looks like this for the price that we're getting. But let's have a look at what the most expensive one on here is. Okay, these are all like lightsabers, so that's like fair enough. But what about an actual figure? Ooh, £109 for 3 figures. Now that is crazy, but this is like a special edition set. 2 Stormtroopers and Darkiller, and like a base and all that sort of stuff. Really great detail. That looks incredible. But it's like from a game, isn't it? A game that I played when I was younger. 4 figures for £104. But again, these are more of a limited edition one because it's it's from like a non-canon story kind of thing. So it's sort of a more exceptional case. There's likely not as much stock of it. But I love that. Look at that. It's great. And I'm not saying I'd pay this for Doctor Who stuff. Like, look, there you go, there's a Force Ghost thing. But that's a really cool pack. You've got like actual cloth over their costumes, and you get 3 of those figures that have probably never been released before. That's great. Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, well, he's a massive slug, so of course he's going to cost a little bit more because that's completely brand new. Love that. Comes with a little drink thing. Comes with Salacious Crumb. Brilliant. You've got 2 characters there, 50 quid. 2 characters there, 44. But that's my point is, look at the quality of these bloody things. Like, the Clone Trooper looks like it does on screen, and Mace Windu looks incredible. I haven't got any bloody good photos of that. There we go, hang on. That looks very good for a figure. It looks better than the Doctor Who ones. It looks better than the, like, articulation-wise. There's a lot more detail to it. Yeah, it might not be perfect, but it's you know, for the price, it's pretty good. So that's very cool. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say about figures. I don't care. If you like it, like it. If you don't, don't. I'm personally, I think the set looks really good. I think it's an absolutely fine value for money. Not too bad, but not as cheap as it could be either. But personally, I'm not going to buy it because I just don't have much of an interest in it. The other thing is the competition. There's a giveaway going on. Doctor Who.tv. They have just released this in the recent times. So please, if you are in the UK, give it, go and sign up. It's not really in my interest to sort of share this because the less people looking at it, the better. But you can actually now apply to join the sort of sweepstake for the season 1 premiere of Doctor Who in London on Thursday the 25th of April, I believe it is, which is very exciting. I'll just need to try and find a link to it so I can show you guys. Oh, dearie me. Fuck's sake. Why can I not find it anywhere? Okay, cool. I mean, I'm on the website. Yeah, I can't actually find it, but let's have a look at that. Well, I can't find it. But yes, there's a link going around which you can find on the DoctorWho.tv website. We'll probably promote it on the Twitter page soon, but basically, there is a premiere for Doctor Who Season 1, presumably the first episode, maybe the first 2 episodes, I'm not sure, and that is coming out on the 25th in London. It'll be a premiere event. You can sign up, put your name in, put your email in, and join the sweepstake. I've put my name down, of course I have. I live in London. I'd absolutely love to do that. It'll probably not happen, but I would absolutely love it too. But if you are interested, join. Don't really particularly want to advertise it because I sort of want to win it. The more people that join, the less chance I got of winning it. But hey, jump on and have a look and see how you feel. Yeah, I'm very, very excited about that. But yeah, whoever gets it will be a very, very lucky person, and I'm excited for them, whoever they end up being. Hopefully it's me. But you can check that out. Yeah, what else have we got going on? What else has been happening? I mean, yeah, there was some drama. I don't really want to talk about it, actually. I was gonna, and I was sort of like, oh, I just can't be arsed because it's just going to draw more attention to it, and I just can't be fucked. because it sort of directly involves me, and I'm sort of like, well, I put a tweet out saying about something on Twitter, and someone just did not like that about themselves because I thought something that they did was a bit grim, and they made a sort of hour video stream talking about it, crying about it. But yeah, I have no intention of it, because the thing is, with some people in the Doctor Who community, you've got content creators like that who will try and jump on any sort of drama or anything like that to try and just get views or new people off the back of it. And it's all well and good, but I'm just not that kind of person. Like, I could have hyped up this stream today by being I'm going to talk shit about this person, but I don't care. I don't need to do that. If you want me to come on here and sort of talk about you and mention your name and your channel and share the video, if you think I'm going to do that, you're wrong, because I, one, can't be fucked, and two, why would I give anyone free promo? You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of done with it. I said what I had to say. He has a complete right to respond to that. He did. Sound, mate. That's it. But I'm sure if you look on Twitter, you'll see what it was. That's all I'll really say about that. Entertainment Weekly is the other thing. Let's talk about Entertainment Weekly, who have been killing it. Look at this. This is actually confirmed to be a new outfit of the Doctor in the next season. Not this season coming up, but season 2. This is probably one of my favourite Doctor outfits now. I can't lie. I really like this look. It is very Doctor-y. The tartan top is brilliant, sort of zipped up there. And this sort of like, almost like suit jean trousers with this sort of kilt or skirt over the top of it. I think it's very nice. I think it's a really, really cool look. It's very Doctor-y. It's very sort of modern, chic, kind of cool vibe. Unconventional, potentially, but that's what sort of sets it apart. Look at this little thing as well. This is great. So basically, Shitty Gatware is on the cover of Entertainment Weekly in this upcoming special where they talk all about the news and all that sort of stuff about the upcoming thing of the show. It's very, very exciting there. A few people talking about the Sonic. There is a new Sonic here. It is the same one, but it's got a different colouring. The one we know has blue, but this one has a sort of yellowy look to it. We saw a little bit of that in the Season 1 trailer, so I wonder what that's going to equate to directly. But yes, as it stands, that is very cool. Doesn't he just look like the Doctor? You know what I mean? Like, when you look at him, like, you look at him and you think, that's Doctor Who, right? That to me, like, some people, you know, you sort of, when they get cast, you're like, oh, I'm not sure. I love it. I really love it. I just think he looks great. That is such a good photo as well. And Entertainment Weekly, wow, you know, that is exciting. A brand new kind of low-res video they got there. But this is also another outfit that's going to be in the season. It's also been confirmed. This sort of outfit here, which is really interesting. Full white outfit, very nice. Hopefully it doesn't spill any wine on it, but yeah. Again, Shooty just pulls off any look he tries, which is just incredible. It's a great talent. Wow, should we have a look through this article? Should we read everything? I feel like we shouldn't read through everything, because there's quite a lot. Fucking hell, I'm going to definitely read this later. But props to them for just dropping this online. Yeah, so Shooty Gatwa is on the cover of the new Entertainment Weekly, which is really cool. Some good visuals here. A great photo here. We'll talk about all these photos. That's fab. This is another photo with another brand new outfit. Very cool as well. From the TARDIS, this is going to be from Space Babies, I believe. You can sort of see the outfit there. Love that. And that's another outfit there. Very cool. Love that. It's a great outfit. Look at that. I mean, I just look at him and I'm like, this is the Doctor, isn't it? I mean, you look at him and you see it completely. There's no doubt in my mind about it. You have people who start and they take a little bit of a while to sort of get into it. With Shooty, as soon as, like, you know, the first costume reveal, I was like, oh, that's interesting, I'm not sure. And then we get a little bit more, and then we get a little bit more. And as soon as he appeared in the episode in the giggle, I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what the show needs now. A whole new modern era with a whole new budget as well to get on the cover of Entertainment Weekly is very exciting. Another new great photo there from the Devil's Cord. Another one from Space Babies there. You can sort of see these floating tanks with what looks like babies in them, so I'm not going to question that until we see the episode. We've got a fantastic... I mean, just the set design of this photo shoot is excellent. Like a giant clock with a little TARDIS thing on it. Very cool. Very excited about that. And what else have we got? What else have we got? New photo here as well. Very cool. Photo of him sat in a chair. Again, very cool. I just keep saying very cool at everything. The Doctor and Ruby crossing Abbey Road. Very cool as well. I keep saying very cool. Stop saying very cool. Well, I mean, we have seen the costume reveal outfit. It was very briefly in the church on Ruby Road, wasn't it? But I'm assuming they're gonna bring it into one of the episodes. I think it'll probably be the Bubble and something. I can't remember which episode that was or what that was called. But yes, it'll be the social media one with the giant slugs. We haven't seen the Doctor and Ruby's outfit from that, so I'm presuming we'll see that. This just looks great. It looks really, really great. There's a lot to sort of read through there, so I'm not going to go through it. It's not my job to just sort of detail everything in an Entertainment Weekly article. Go and have a read of it yourself. Very, very exciting stuff. Look at that. I love that all this promo stuff is just excellent. Like, it's just really, really cool, and I just have the utmost just love for all of this. I think it's great. It's really, really great. What else have we got? I mean, feel free to drop any questions or sort of notes. Let's have a look. So there is something I wanted to talk about as well, which is kind of fun. I want to... This is going to be a personal promo again, but this is actually somewhat relevant this time. It's not just like random gibberish. Go away, Joel. So who in the chat now has sort of been watching this channel for a long while? Who can cast their memory back a few years? If you can't, that's absolutely fine. But we're going to go a little bit nostalgic on you. A little bit reflective, if you will. Been out of the loop for a while. Yeah, I mean, we can go back through the stream. We've basically covered quite a few things already. We've covered the new companion and the theory surrounding that. We've covered Russell T Davies confirming that the Timeless Child is going to be a big part of the new era in terms of the Doctor and Ruby's relationship. Ruby's going to be a big part of Season 2. And we've got new Doctor Who figures that we've talked about. And we've got the new Entertainment Weekly article as well, with all new photos of the Doctor's outfits, as well as a fantastic looking interview with Shooty and Millie and Russell. So, Percy the cat. Oh, I wish you were talking about Percy. Maybe we will at some point. But you may remember a little video that I did way back when. It says 5 years ago now, which is very... That's scary. This video here... Day of the Doctor review, 50th anniversary special, right? Not just that, but also a Woman Who Fell to Earth review. Can anyone tell me the common theme between both of these videos, other than that they're Doctor Who reviews? You can kind of tell by the thumbnail. But basically, these videos were big projects on this channel at the time. Projects that included a lot of green screen and a lot of acting and costume and running around and being a prat. So much fun to film and a lot of fun to edit. A little bit cringe now, to be honest, but I love them. And there is a reason I'm talking about this. We'll get to it, but just indulge me for a second. We've got this lovely video where I was dressing up as Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall and David Tennant and Peter Capaldi by the looks of it. A 10-minute skit this was, I think, leading into the Woman Who Fell to Earth review. That's one that 13,000 of you watched, so I love that. Thank you. But these are skits that I made way back when. And there are a couple of others as well, which you might be able to find somewhere. But I guess I'll show you quickly as well. We did do a couple more. That did come out, but I've since privated because I just think they're fucking god awful. But I see a few of you probably going to be disappointed with this, to be honest with you. I thought that it would be a bit more of a less exciting thing. We also did one for, famously, Westworld and Star Wars The Last Jedi, and technically Force Awakens, but that wasn't as big of a project. But we did these as well. This is for Westworld. We had a whole little thing, a little specially shot bollocks here. There's me dressed as a woman, nice. Last Jedi. This is really old. This is older than the other ones. Look how small I am. Yeah, this was fun. So these are all skits that I made way back when with a friend of mine called Cooper, who you might recognise because we now do a podcast together. And I'm not just mentioning this to promote the podcast. I mean, I am, but it is relevant. Because this week's episode of the podcast, episode 10 of Nostalgia Bit, we are actually going to be talking in detail about the process of making all these reviews. The thought process that went into them, the filming of them, the sort of embarrassment that we kind of feel now going into them. But mainly a lot of love. Reminiscing about these videos. The Day of the Doctor review especially, my God, was just like an effort. And the Woman Who Fell to Earth one was 10 minutes fucking long. This was like a whole day of shooting in my house. A lot of random improv. But we did a lot of this sort of stuff. Same with the Star Wars one. Same with the Westworld one. We did all of these, and we talked about them on a podcast, and that episode is coming out this week, so I thought I'd promote that. Obviously, I promote the podcast every week on here, because if you're not aware already, which most of you probably are if you watch week in, week out, I have a podcast with my friend Cooper called Nostalgia Bit, and these skit videos, we worked on them together. You know, I was in front of the camera. Cooper was in front of the camera once, once or twice, a couple times maybe. There he is. There he is. I stuck him in a bold wig and made him the War Council of Gallifrey, basically. I think I dressed him up as Hartnell as well. Let's wing him. Oh, there he is. It's Hartnell. There we go. See, he's in it a bit. But we made these together. He basically helped me film them, plan them, all that sort of stuff. And you can check out our podcast here on Spotify. It is linked in the description below, and I would really love any sort of feedback you guys can give. I'll put it in the chat now. If you're not already following, just press the follow button. It's that easy. And we have new episodes every single Thursday. The recent episodes we talked about the Batman universe and DC movies, video games before that, Westworld, of course, video games, Spider-Man, all that sort of stuff. But the one that's coming out this week is specifically the first one, not only about Doctor Who, but about this channel and about the history of this channel and some of the stuff we made on here. And if you guys like it, we'll definitely do more of that sort of stuff. I like to be reflective. It is nostalgic for me. Maybe we'll talk about Percy the Cat at some point, but for the most part, it is a really integral part of this channel for me. Maybe not in the years that a lot of you subscribe to this channel, but for me, it was a huge thing way back when, and you know, it was a lot of fun talking about them. Eventually, we want to sort of do like a reaction to these videos, but until then, yeah, potentially not. But yeah, I thought I'd mention that and share that there. So if you are interested, that'll be coming out on Thursday. You'll see a couple of teasers for that on Twitter and all that sort of thing tomorrow and Thursday as well. But yeah, look out for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it'll also be here on YouTube as well. We also have a little podcast section on the channel where we talk about that. But I know we've been reflective on here before, and I know it's a lot of fun to talk about old stuff. But here you go, look at this. All the episodes of the podcast here on YouTube under the podcast section. And some of the new episodes will get posted live and then taken away. I've also got 2 new videos out, by the way. Check them out. Come on. Check them out. Yeah. George, if you do reviews for Series 14, or Season 1 as we call it, your dot and bubble thumbnail should definitely say a live slug reaction. It will, don't worry. Re-review Demon to the Punjab and dress up as Yaz as Nanny. No, that's a really bad idea. Interview the guy who gave you the Percy the Cat info. Oh my fucking god, tell me about it. I would love to do that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff I could talk about. I definitely want to talk about YouTube as well on the podcast properly at some point and talk about all the sort of memories from other stuff as well. There's lots of other things that I made and things, and I'd love to sort of get your guys' questions in, like a bit of a Q&A thing. Why did I make this project? Did I give in with this series? A lot of people asking, when's this coming back? When's that coming back? And the fact of the matter is, most of the time, it's not. But, yeah. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. That's obviously, I could talk about the podcast every single week. The link is in the chat now. It's also linked in the description below. But we are going to be talking about YouTube stuff then. And we're going to keep doing some more Doctor Who stuff for a little while. But after we finish talking about Doctor Who, we're going to be going live over on Twitch. We do this every single Tuesday. From about 8 o'clock, we go live on Twitch and we play a video game. And this week, we're going to be playing, for the very last time, I hope, or think, or whatever, Batman Arkham City. We're almost 100%ed it. We just need to go a little bit more and then we'll be finished. So that was the aim for today. So please do join if you are keen and interested in that. But yeah, let's talk more about Doctor Who stuff. Ask me your questions. I am going to play 13, as we do every single week, on this channel, on the Who Bulletin. 13's a fun little game, which I love, and it's very distracting and what have you. But if you have any questions about the podcast, about Twitch, about Doctor Who in general, about this channel, about anything like that, then feel free to ask me. And yeah, again, reminder, we do post new videos every single Friday. If you haven't seen this Destiny of the Doctors video, please go check it out. It was a lot of fun to edit, and I genuinely think it's quite funny. I'm genuinely looking at it and I'm like, this is solid. I like this. I'm aiming to have a new Doctor Who actual video out every week. That might change, that might not happen, but just wait and see. You never know. That's my aim at the moment, is to kind of keep that content output coming. But keep an eye out. That was a really fun video and a really fun game to play. So yeah. But if you have any questions at all, now is the time to drop them in the chat whilst I play a bit of 13. I'll chat to you guys about my opinions on things. Oh god. Oh no. So yeah, but if you watch this every week, you're going to be sick of me talking about this by now, but that is what we do pretty much every single week. We stream on here, and we go over to Twitch. How excited are you for Series 15/Season 2 and the new TARDIS team? I'm very excited, actually. I think it's a really promising little TARDIS team. And I think it shows a lot of potential. I think it always excites me when we get new actors. It's always sort of a question as to, why are we getting someone new already? But there's a good reason for it. I like the fact that Ruby is still playing a big part of that. I wonder, going back to Russell's era initially, whether he always wanted to have a new companion every series, or whether it was just his hand being forced, really, just based on actors' scheduling and all that sort of thing. Because, of course, we had Billie Piper for 2 seasons before she was written out of the show. And then we had, obviously, Martha as well. So there's sort of a lot of thoughts there in my mind. I'm sort of like, did we... And then Donna, obviously. I presume Freema didn't want to keep doing a main companion role, or maybe had filming conflicts, because she was still in the season but wasn't the main character. And I know originally Donna wasn't supposed to be the companion. It was supposed to be someone else, supposed to be a new companion again. So it's interesting in my mind. I'm sort of like, I wonder if this was always the idea, and then whether or not in this time round we're going to get Russell actually giving us companions that last more than a series, which would be nice. To get involved, do you ever think you get involved with DW 2012, anything like that? I don't know what that is. Could you? It's familiar, but it's like I'm not as active in the Doctor Who community as I used to be, so I forget these things. So remind me of what that is, and I'll tell you. How did you get into character for Jodie Whittaker? For fuck's sake. It's a good question. I was, well, it's a daft question. I'll give it a daft answer, really. I just put on an accent. You just do a little bit of... my dad's from Yorkshire. I have Yorkshire family heritage. So I just embodied that. It's not a very good Jodie impression. Technically, the last time Russell wrote for Two Companions was in 2007 with The Last of the Time Lords. So I'm interested to see how this goes this time around. Well, technically not, because technically we've had the Doctor's Daughter, the Sontaran Stratagem, all that as well, because that had Martha in it. And then, of course, we have, you know, Journey's End and Stolen Earth, which also had many different companions and stuff in it. So it depends on how you categorize it, really, I think. God, Series 14 has a weird tinge to it for me now. I like the show, obviously. Love the show, and I'm also really excited for shooting the series. Looks great, but comes at the day after I finish school, and that's like the finish line. So going off the exam leave, then I'm done. No more of the place I've gotten to for 7 years of my life. Change and sadness mixed with Doctor Who. Yeah, I mean, it's appropriate, I guess. Doctor Who has always been about change, and I think that's part of what makes it most exciting. You associate different eras with Who. If you're a fan, you associate different eras with different parts of your life, and I think that's a wonderful thing. It's really nice. I always do that. I always remember, you know, how old I was when certain things happened or came out, and you do remember these things because they're important. Doctor Who fan series. Oh, yes. You know what? I think a few years ago I probably would have been really keen. I think nowadays I'd sort of struggle just out of time. You know, I would have absolutely loved to have been asked to be involved. I never was, but I would have always been keen. Way back when, you know. But probably not so much now, for being completely honest. As much as I love the work that they do, and I think it's brilliant, I'm more of a behind-the-camera kind of guy, which is daft because I'm live streaming. I like to be in front of the camera, and I wouldn't have minded doing like a cameo. I probably wouldn't still mind doing a cameo if I was asked, but it's more just a thing of like, I think when I had a bigger Doctor Who following, I probably would have been more of a name that people would want to see almost, you know what I mean, as opposed to now. Well, it's not that I haven't got that following. Obviously, you guys are watching now, so I'm not slagging you guys off. But it's more of a thing of maybe if that was, you know, if I had a bigger standard following, it would make more sense. But hey, I love what they do, and I would never sort of turn my nose up at something like that. I think it's great that they have that creative passion. You know, I'm a filmmaker. I want to do a lot more of that sort of stuff. So I have absolutely, you know, I fully commend them for what they do, and the same goes for Confused Adipose as well. You know, whatever you think of it, and whatever, you know, if you think it's the cringe to do that, you know, fine. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a form of artistic expression. When I was younger, you know, when I was in primary school, I used to play with my fucking Lego figures, and I'd turn them into Doctor Who stories. Doctor Who never had Lego, right? But I'd turn them into stories because that's how I expressed it. Like, same with playing with figures. Same with playing in the playground. You make your stories up, and that is writing, whether that's Doctor Who or something original or something, it doesn't matter. It's writing, you know. Russell T Davies is a fan of the show, you know. He is a fan and a writer, and he can be both. If you're a Doctor Who companion, what's your backstory and who are you? Gotta be someone from Newcastle. Gotta have a little bit of the Geordie heritage in there, you know. That's the only sort of thing I could want, you know, something a bit local. Well, not local anymore because I live in London, but you know, that would be amazing. I'd love to see that. We never get any representation in Newcastle in Doctor Who or many TV shows at all, to be honest. Let's have a look. Tharis and Confused Adipose have both been involved in it, I believe. Yeah, no, I'd as I say, I'd be completely keen. It's just not something I've ever been asked to do, you know, so I've never really known my response. If it was a cameo, I'd probably be like, yeah, sure. There's also a question as well, whether nowadays people would even watch it and be like, oh, look, it's George, or they'd just be like, who's this fucking guy, you know? Is it as effective as a cameo if people don't really know who I am? Favourite Doctor Who figure? That's a really difficult question to answer. I think it's a fucking hard one, that, man. That's a proper thinker. I can't focus on the game and think about that. There's been plenty of good ones over the years, but the one that I guess this is cheating, but I would say the TARDIS player set, the Tennant one, because technically a figure, technically released from character options, technically in that ballpark, but obviously not an actual figure itself. but I think it's brilliant and I love it. You can Tharius and Confused Adipose are the best Doctor Who YouTubers. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Um, 13 game blast from the past. Absolutely. And the thing, I'd love to be interested in the film. I'd love to be involved in the film industry somehow, even if it's just a script editor. But yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? I think for me, it's filmmaking, right? Whatever you think of that, and I know a lot of people will sort of criticise it and go, "Well, you're making a Doctor Who fan film. It's a bit sad." It's like, no, it's still filmmaking. You're still making something out of it, right? If I write for a Doctor Who audio series, is that cringe because it's Doctor Who and it's like unofficial? No, it's experience, and if I can write for characters that I know, then I can learn to write for other things as well. That's the whole point of this sort of thing, You learn and you practice and you keep going and you keep picking up these skills. That's how it works, Oh, Clockwork Droid was a really good one as well. The detail on that was incredible. Have I fucked this? Oh no, I haven't. There we go. Christ, I was a bit worried there for a second. Oh shit. Might have fucked it now though. Okay. Okay, we got to 10. Bloody hell. A bit of patience that we got there. I did fan stuff for years, and I would a poetry book and novelette. You'd be surprised where you go, I'm Techie. Yeah, I write a lot of different stuff now, just whatever kind of takes my fancy. Currently working on a short film myself at the minute, and that's a very exciting project to be working on, especially knowing that it's going to happen as well. It's like, oh my god, fantastic, amazing, exciting. The problem, some people it's like, yeah, so you can't write, but I think you can write anything you want, whether it's from a property or a brand. You just can't sell it if it's from an existing property, you know what I mean? I've written an entire novel of short stories, admittedly, 6 short stories, and they're all Doctor Who. It's basically a mini-series of Doctor Who. I can't ever release it because it's copyrighted, and it's, it's Doctor Who. I can't just use their characters and IPs and stuff and make money off it. No. But, I was proud of that when I made it. It was a long time ago that I made it, so I don't know if I could say the same now. I haven't exactly proofread it, but you know what I mean? It's one of my first experiences at actually writing something completely original. And I was proud of myself for that, That was a big thing. Favorite classic story? I have no idea. It's a good question, though. I have no idea. I quite like Curse of Fenric. Feels very modern Who. I like that one. I don't know. As far as classic Who goes, it's very difficult to tell. It's a really difficult question for me because I've watched a lot of it, but I just don't know what I like and what I don't like. I think Sontaran Experiment, goated, love that one. Which is quite of a weird take, I know, but still. Somehow ever since I started playing on June 30th, 2020 release date, I haven't given up on 13. Seeing Capaldi twice, one day I'll see Whittaker. As the show is turning more godly and supernatural, should Sutek make a return? Yeah, absolutely. Now, I can't actually say I've seen that story. Pyramids of Mars. I wish I had. I wish I could say I've seen it, but I haven't, unfortunately. Which Doctor is it? It's a completely original Doctor. I think the sad, scary, weird thing is, I think it probably is the 15th Doctor. Because by that point, that was so far away when I wrote it, because it was still the 12th Doctor. So I guess I thought the 15th Doctor would be a long-ass time away. Look at where we are now. Very scary stuff. But it's a completely original Doctor. It's nothing from the show before. I can try and remember some of the story details. So there's 6 stories. I can remember the first few very well because they're sort of the ones that I spent the most time on, really. So the first Oh, I really want to try and remember it. The first one was a Weeping Angel story. I know, original, right? But it was set on... What was it called? Junk Mail. It was called Junk Mail, and it was set on a colony spaceship. It was set on a colony spaceship, and it was basically Alien mixed with the idea of a Weeping Angel, and a lot more time travel than what other Weeping Angel stories I believe had done. It was a lot more based on that, and also time displacement as well as location. If you're on a moving ship, how does a Weeping Angel work? When it sends you back in time, does it send you back in time to the same spot, or does it send you back in time to a different place? Those have been explored on the show before, but I really wanted to sort of take that and run with it and do something different with it. So that was a very time-bending story. I think it introduced a new companion in that one who was working on the ship. Oh, no, that was right. I tried to be brutal with it. So what I did was I think I introduced a new companion for the episode, and it was a real thing, because obviously it was like the first episode of like 6 short stories, right? So you expect this to be the companion the whole way through. She dies at the end of that first story. You know, she gets taken through time by the Weeping Angel and killed. I think she's left in space or something, or the Doctor sees her die or whatever, and the Weeping Angel doesn't. I can't remember what it is, but there was some good stuff in there. The second episode, but the whole idea was there was like a mail pod arrived in the space station. Oh no, this was it. No, the idea I liked most about the story is it was basically played on the TARDIS's unreliability. The Doctor gets a distress signal from the attack of the Weeping Angel. He arrives too early and is ranting and raving about the Weeping Angel, and they're like, who is this intruder? Why is he talking about this thing? Basically calling his bluff and being like, you're a fucking idiot. Who are you random like guy? Why are you shouting about this? We don't know you're the intruder, yada yada yada. And then a mail pod arrives, and it has a Weeping Angel in it. Don't know where it came from or the origins of it, but this mail pod has a Weeping Angel in it, basically. And essentially that takes over the ship, and then the distress signal is sent out while the Doctor stood right next to them. It's like a sort of bit of a timey-wimey thing. The second episode is about a Rutan whose spaceship crashes on Earth in the 21st century, and another new companion is introduced, which is basically the idea of it is like that first one is sort of a spin-on companion introduction. You think it's a bit like the whole effect of... fuck this now. I had no option though. It's the effect of basically what they did with Clara, right? They introduced this character who would inevitably just die. I've really fucked this up. I actually can't do this. This is fucked now. We're done. But yeah, I'll talk about this a little bit. In fact, just out of personal indulgence, let's talk about this. I'll see if I've got some of the concept art from it, because I did actually make some art for it. But it was a Rutan ship that crashed, and the new companion was a unit scientist. The Rutan steals the TARDIS. But basically the Sontarans are threatening to burn the Earth. It's very much the 11th hour, but with a Rutan and a Sontaran ship, as opposed to the Atraxi and Prisoner Zero. But the Rutan warrior crashes in like an abandoned house. It's a little bit of a horror, but it's kind of stylistic. The third episode, now I'll stress this was written before Series 11 came out. The third episode is basically Revolution of the Daleks, which is really interesting, because obviously I'd written this way in advance, and that was never the idea that they were going to come and write something about that. Oh, where is it? Christ, this is going to be a hard one. I don't know where I put it. It's definitely somewhere. I'm definitely gonna find this and talk about it. I think it's in... Oh, there we go. Doctor Who Untold Adventures, it was called. That's really sad. I did a couple of videos about it on the channel way back when. The logo and stuff and the design is a bit shit, but the idea was that... Oh, there were individual posters. Oh, this is going to be really cringe, though. So the first... Oh, I put myself in the poster, you fucking cringe lord. What am I doing? See, this was why this never got fucking anywhere. Christ, I really went for it. So the second one was called Hide and Seek, makes sense. The first one was called Junk Mail. Okay, that's fine. The second one, yeah. So route, terrible fucking design, but yeah. The third one was called Cyber Rebirth. Bit of a shit name, but a cool idea. So this basically was, what was it? Essentially, it was, oh, for fuck's sake, was so many different fucking things. What it essentially was, the Cyber Rebirth, was the Doctor and a new companion go to the far future, or go to like 100 years in the future, not really even that far, and London is exactly the same as it was, way less advanced than it should be, and on the streets, every street corner, you've got this Cyberman, but it's like got red and blue. It's got a different like paintwork depending on what role in society it has. So some of them have information points, some of them are police officers, yada yada yada. The basic reveal is that a spaceship crash landed, yada yada yada. There was a Cyberman in it. The government nicked it and set it up in Big Ben as like a secret facility where they could basically take the design, use some of the technology from it, and create these drones. Literally revolution of the Daleks. Obviously, what happens is it goes wrong. It goes wrong because the Cyberman in Big Ben awakens and hacks back into the system. And basically the plot resolution is the Doctor gets on the London Eye and uses it as a transmitter, like in Rose, but uses it as a transmitter to wipe out the signal to the Cybermen, basically knocking them all like stone cold dead. And that's the idea of that story. Episode 4, what was episode 4 called? Eternal Silence. So Eternal Silence was, this is what the thing is, 4, 5 and 6 I can barely remember. But 4 was an underwater theme park in the future that the Doctor was taking his companion to for a sort of retreat, and it turns out it's actually now a military facility, and it's actually, yeah, it's basically it's a military facility, and they've all got the eye patches, and it sort of rings a little bit of a bell for the Doctor. He's sort of like, oh, I know those eye patches, and it turns out the Silence are there, and I can't remember the context of the story, unfortunately, but it was something along those lines where it was, yeah, the Silence were there, and they kidnap the new companion, and I think they send her back through time or something like that. There's some really weird shit going on. But basically, it's a mix between, I guess, Nightmare in Silver, somewhat, with the theme park and military base, and then also Face the Raven, where the Doctor and companion get separated. Because episode 5, which had a cool name to it, I think, was called The Time of Our Lives. So it was a Dr. Light story, basically. I can't remember because someone else wrote it on my behalf. Or they wrote the treatment for it and then I sort of expanded it. But basically was a story about this woman who lived in this sort of dream world. And some stuff didn't seem right. Stuff went missing, yada, 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 yada. And she just started seeing weird reflections in the glass, in the mirrors. Eyes following her, feeling like she's being watched. And basically ended up her finding the Doctor in this world, and finding out and working out who he is, and then confronting the villain, who was another person of some kind, some sort of character that we don't know, who the Doctor confronts when he gets his memory back, and is like asking where his companion is, basically. And then episode 6 covers that, which I believe is just called Ancient. And it's, surprise, surprise, it's set on Gallifrey. But it's set in ancient Gallifrey, which is another interesting thing. Or not ancient Gallifrey, but it's set in Gallifrey at the time of the Doctor's childhood. The Doctor's there. The Doctor meets himself as a child on Gallifrey. But it's a bit of a weird political story from what I can remember. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a reading of it at some point. I don't think that's even interesting to anyone but me, but the Daleks invade, I think, for the very first time. It's real classic Daleks, but it's not. I don't know if they invade Gallifrey or whether they try to or something like that. But basically, the Lord President is just like completely over the top, all this sort of stuff. But there's a big story going on. Basically, something's going wrong on Gallifrey, and it's inevitably going to collapse and whatever, and cause this, and this chain of events. And the Doctor has to stop it, even though it's breaking the time lock or whatever, or anything like that. It turns out the person who he was fighting against in episode 5, who is the mastermind behind everything, the Valeyard, obviously. And at the end of episode 6, the Doctor in the story regenerates into the Valeyard. That's the idea, is that this whole series you're leading towards the trauma of losing people, all that sort of thing, and then that choice where you see the Doctor become the Valeyard by appealing to that darker nature, by falling to that side, and then eventually regenerating and making that decision. Is he gonna break the cycle? Is he gonna be different? Or is he going to just be a slave to the cycle he's already been in, seeing his future self, the Valeyard? That's the story in a gist, but those last 3 episodes I can barely remember. That's just really going off memory. But yeah, that's kind of if you were to make these, how would you want it format-wise? Well, originally it was going to be an audio series. That's where it started. Started as an audio series and then turned into a book because the audio series was just proving too difficult to make. You never know. It could have been something, but it wasn't. I had like an idea for a Doctor outfit. Very funny. Trans-temporal Sonic as well. Very cool. Voices and recordings. You see, we had actual voice acting here for different characters. Oh, I should do something with this, but the script is so old at this point that it's probably not even very good. So, yeah. But I'm sure I'll throw this at some point. I'll tell you what. In the meantime, what we'll do is, I will suggest that you all join the Discord server, and maybe, just maybe, I might share a few snippets from this if you ask at some point. But I'll share a link to the Discord server. If you are interested, drop in there. You'll find out when we go live, when there's new episodes of stuff, when there's new videos, podcasts, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, we've gone a little bit over, so we are going to head over to twitch.tv/georgesheard. We're going to play some Batman, so feel free to join us. Feel free to dip here if that's not your thing, but I'd really love it if as many of you guys popped up as possible as we play a little bit of podcast, a little bit of Batman. So stick around for that, and we'll see you all very, very soon. See you all next week. Oh no, not next week. I'm not streaming next week, so that's sad. But I will be back the week after. Potentially. I'm not sure if I'll do one next week anyway, just not on a Tuesday, or whether I'll not do one at all, but keep an eye out. Thank you all so much for watching, and